In this video, you'll learn all about the Pandas Crosstab function and how to use it to be able to summarize your data quickly and easily. Let's get started. If you're new to this series, be sure to check out the other videos in the Beginner Pandas series, which I'll link to right up here. The Pandas Crosstab function is quite similar to the Pandas pivot table function, which I've covered in another tutorial, which you can also find by clicking the link up here. However, there are a number of key differences. The first one is that it allows you to easily normalize your data to show your data as either a row, column, or total percentage. By default, it also uses the count function instead of the mean function. The last key difference is that it doesn't require your data to be in a data frame at the beginning. You're able to pass in series-like objects into the rows and columns natively. Let's see how to use this function. Okay, let's write some code. I've already imported pandas here as PD and read in a data set from this tutorial here, which I'll link to down below, and added the parse dates argument to make sure that all of our dates are read correctly as dates rather than strings. All of this has been assigned to a data frame called df. Let's take a look at what df actually looks like. We can write df.head. We can see here that we have a date column, which represents a date, a region column, which represents the region of a transaction, type, which represents the type of clothing being sold, units, which is the number of units sold, and finally sales, which represents the total sale price of that transaction. So the Pandas Crosstab function works quite similar to the Pandas pivot table function, but there are a number of key differences. Before we explore some of these differences, let's actually create our first crosstab. So to do this, we can write ps.crosstab. What we need to do is pass in both an index and a column. Positionally, index is going to be the first argument, so we can just write df and then whatever column we want to use as our index. So we'll write region for this example. Then we can write df.type for our columns. Now when we run this, we can see that a crosstab has automatically been generated. This points us to the first difference between Pandas crosstabs and Pandas pivot tables. What the crosstab does by default is generate a frequency count. So all of these represent the number of times each of these show up within the original data set, whereas the pivot table by function would have returned the mean value. This here is actually the exact same thing as if we had written index equals and columns equals. So when we run this, we can see that we actually get the exact same result. Now, what if you didn't want to calculate frequency tables with your crosstab? You're also able to apply any different function that you want to use similar to a pivot table. So for example, if you wanted to calculate the mean value of each sale item belonging to different regions and types of clothing, you could write pd crosstab and then again df.region, df.type for the columns, and now we'll write in a values field. The values will tell Pandas which column to use as the values for your different aggregation. So in this case, we're going to write df.sales as we're interested in the sales, and then we'll pass in an Aggfunc, which stands for aggregation, and we'll write mean. Now when we run this, the values have been replaced from a simple frequency table to actually showing the mean sale value broken out by type and by region. You're able to play around with this aggregation function parameter as much as you want. Similarly, if you wanted to print out the total sum of sales, you could write sum, and it would change to the sum of sales here. Now let's return to our original crosstab here. I'm going to copy it down here and run it again. We can see here that the word type and region have been applied, but say you wanted to be a little more specific or explicit and to label your rows and columns. You're actually able to pass in a list of names for both the rows and the columns. So what we can do, if we wanted to rename the rows, we could use rownames equals, and then pass in what we want to call it. Region of sales, for example. And same with column names using colnames, where we can write type of clothing. So when we run this again, we can see that both the column and the row headers have been replaced with what we passed through. Another really helpful feature is that you're able to pass in a multi-layer of indices as well. Say you wanted to break down your data by both region and quarter of when the transaction occurred, we would be able to do this by passing in multiple indices. Now, to be able to get a quarter within Pandas, you're able to use a datetime accessor. What this means is that you simply pass in, if you've formatted your data correctly as a date, you can pass in the type of aggregation function that you want to use. So to do this, let's quickly cover off what we're going to do. When we print out our original data frame, we can see here that this is a specific date. Now say we wanted to only look at the quarter that's represented by each of the different dates. You'd be able to write df date and then pass in .dt for date time and quarter. What this is going to do is it's going to print out a series object based on the different quarters that each of these dates represent. So we can actually pass this argument into our crosstab to be able to summarize both by region and by quarter. So if we wanted to do this, we could write pd.crosstab, and then as our index, we're going to pass in a list. We're going to pass in df.region and df.date.dt.quarter, just like we did before. And we'll keep the type column as our column headers. We'll write df.type. When we run this, we can see that our crosstab looks similar to what it did before, but it's further broken out each of the region by the specific quarters represented by the dates. We can also pass in multiple columns. So say we wanted to create this exact crosstab, but instead of having the quarters represented as rows, we can pass them in as columns as well. In order to do this, we simply create a list of columns that we want to use in the columns field. So what we'll write is pd.crosstab, and this time we're only going to include region as one of our indices. So we'll write df.region. Now we're going to pass in a list here. So the first item is still going to be type. And then again, we'll write df.date.dt.quarter as our column header. When we run this, we can see that the quarters have been replaced as columns. Now, when we actually look at this crosstab, this still says date, which is a bit of a misnomer at this point, as the data actually represents a quarter. We can simply rename our column and row headers with the same parameters we used before, the row names and call names parameters. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this code here and just copy it down. And we're going to pass in row names. This one we can simply call region name. And then call names needs to match the number of items that we're using as columns, which in this case is 2. So we're going to need to pass in a list. Our first is going to be type, and our second is going to be quarter. When we run this now, we can see that the date label has been replaced by the name quarter. One of the most powerful functions that sets the crosstab function apart from the pivot table function is the ability to normalize the resulting crosstab. What this means is that you're able to create your values as percentages of either a row total, a column total, or of your entire crosstab total. Let's create one of the data frames we created earlier. We'll write pd.crosstab, and we'll pass in the region, and we'll pass in type. Say you were interested in representing the values in each of the columns as a percentage of the column total. You could do this by passing in the normalize argument and writing in columns. What this does is it returns the same crosstab, but with each of the values showing the percentage that this cross section makes up out of the column total. Now, say you wanted to be able to return this as a percentage of the row total. You could simply replace columns with index. So now all of these values here will add up to 1. Similarly, all of these values will add up to 1. Now say you were interested in calculating the value represented at the cross-section of children's clothing in East region out of the entire total. You could write all, and now all of these values here will add up to 100%. Another incredibly useful feature in the crosstab function is the ability to add row and column totals. This is done using the margins argument. What we're going to do is create the exact same crosstab we had before, and we'll pass in margins equals true. This provides both for rows and columns a new co-element row called all, which shows us the sum of both the rows and the columns. Now, what if you wanted to name this something other than all? You'd be able to pass in a margins name argument, and we can call this, say, total. Now when we rerun this, we can see that the word all has been replaced with total. The margins argument also works really well in conjunction with the normalize argument. So for example, if we pass in normalize equals columns, we can see that the total still exists for the column here, but it's been removed for the rows. This is because all of these will always add up to 1, but these here now, the total here represents the value that all of East region makes up out of the different regions, regardless of the type used. Now, say we wanted to be able to normalize by all, we can see that the total exists again for both rows and columns because the totals are now meaningful for both rows and columns. So you've learned quite a bit in this video. You learned how to use the crosstab function and how it's different from the pivot table function available within Pandas. As an extra challenge, how would you normalize by columns and then rename the total column all clothing types? Let me know in the comments below how you would do this. If you have any questions about this exercise, let me know and I'll be happy to answer them. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. If you haven't yet subscribed, click subscribe and click the little bell icon to be notified of when I release new videos just like this one. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.